Happy Sabbath, church. That sounds very light, so let me try again. Happy Sabbath, church. Sound much better, man. Sound much better. I don't know about you, but I'm happy to be here. Happy to be here. I would rather be down there. You know, I was sitting down and I don't know, there's something about standing here. I don't know if it's been a long while, but every time I stand there, it seems like somebody just squeezing me in. I can barely breathe. And the last time I felt this way was when I was getting married. And I was waiting for my wife, and I was standing there. So the closer it gets, and you know this coming up to your time, I'm feeling so nervous. But it's God, not I. And so I'm hoping to let God use me. But that's been a good morning so far. I'm feeling good. I don't know about you, but I received my message already. Hearing the story, hearing the little young man praying, it moved my heart so much. I don't know what a young man like that know about covenant, but certainly he was asking for forgiveness. I'm like, what is this going on? I'm like, I could have just said the benediction and that was it. It was good. My brother, I don't know. I mean, growing up right now, my plan is to learn to play the keyboard and the piano, but hearing you play that, I think I want to change my mind. You know, you sound, I don't know, you sound melodious, I must tell you. Not too loud, it was just a lovely day. And so it has been a good day. I don't know about you, but anytime I find myself in the house of God, I am here to receive a message, even from a child, no matter what it is, a story, I am here to receive something. And so time is going. I don't want to waste time, but I just want to welcome everyone who is here, those who are online. This is the place to be. There is no place like this place near this place. And if you're in this place, you're at the right place. So I want to thank you all for being here. And we're going to go straight in the message. So today's message, as you can see, the on-time God. And just remember, I'm not a preacher. I'm just a person who shares my experience and the word of God. And by doing so, I am hoping that you will receive the message and myself will receive it as well as we go along. Let us pray. Eternal God and Heavenly Father, your Son is here. You have called me and I have answered the call. Not because I have it all, but because I am empty. Just an empty vessel needs to be filled. And so I am here to deliver the message to your people. But before I do so, Lord, fill me first. Let the message reach me, then I can deliver it to those who are listening. And at the end of the day, may we say it was good for us to be here. Because when we're in the house of God, we're in a goodness of joy. He's here to fill us. He's here to give us the comfort that we need to prepare us for the untried week, the untried world that is out there waiting to snatch us. So thank you, Jesus. Be with us and guide us now, I pray, in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, so straight into the message. So today's message will be going from Daniel. And if you know about Daniel 1, it's all about when Daniel and his 3 Hebrew friends was taken captive to Babylon. And the first test that they got was food. They got tested and to eat the type of food they wanted to eat, the king's meal, but they asked to eat something else. But that's not the message for today. We go to chapter 2, which talks about Daniel interpreting the king's dream because he had a dream and he didn't know about it. And he was about to kill the wise men until Daniel stepped forward and interpreted. But that's not even the message for today. We jump over to Daniel chapter 3, where that's the part that I want to talk about. When he was tested again, that's the 3 Hebrew boys. They were tested when Nebuchadnezzar came up with this bright idea that what if I just build a golden image? You know, wanted to change time and everything. And he decided that he was going to build a golden image. And he invited people from all around. Invited people from governors, everyone, high-stake persons. This is something like what I heard in America or something that they keep called the G Summit. Leaders from everywhere. Nebuchadnezzar decided to do something like that because he wanted to change time. He wanted people to honor him. And so he decided that he was going to do that. And so the stage was set. The stage was set. Everything was done. Everybody was invited. All the people were there. And Nebuchadnezzar said that at the sound of the music, something like what my brother was playing, and my brother that was on the piano, melodious, these people were supposed to bow and worship the golden image. And I can just imagine, this is like an arena. I've never been to one with so many people before, but I have watched soccer so much and see 82,000 people inside of a crowd and see how big it was. And the music was have been playing, everything set. But then while the music was playing, everyone was bowing except 3 guys. And I don't know where Daniel was. I guess he was on some mission, but he wasn't there at the time. So the 3 Hebrew boys, Daniel, Shadrach, and Abednego, which is their Hebrew name, and they decided to stand. And I don't know how Nebuchadnezzar or the team was able to see these guys, because in such a big crowd, how do you see 3 persons? But I was just believing that somebody must have been there drawing their clothes saying that, Shadrach, bend down, you need to kneel, the music is playing. And they decided, no, we're not going to. We're going to stand. And I want to think that I don't know if somebody yelled out or called to the soldiers like, hey, these 3 Hebrew boys, they were not kneeling. And so everything stopped. They brought them up now to the king. And the king looked at them, remember their faces, and must be saying that, why you guys didn't bow? Maybe you didn't hear. Maybe your lack of hearing. Something is wrong, so you didn't hear. So you know what? I'm going to do it again. I'm going to play it again, and this time you need to. So they were to know the focus point, because everybody must have been looking at them. Of everybody in the crowd, they decided, we are not going to bow. And they were now the focus point of everything. And before we do so, we're going to go to verse 16. And this is where Nebuchadnezzar played the music, did everything, was about to do that, but the boys responded. And in verse 16, the boys said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said, O King Nebuchadnezzar, we're not careful to answer you in this manner. If it be so, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the fire furnace, and he will deliver us out of the hand, O king, or out of thine hand. Can you imagine? Growing up, I used to hear about being in the church. I always hear this, that one with God is what? Come again, church. I know you'd study a Bible. One with God is what? The majority. And to the human mind, this makes no sense. Because when you're voting, majority counts. When you're doing anything, majority counts. And of the thousands of people, these 3 Hebrew boys decided that they were not going to bow. And we realized that they changed everything. They changed the entire scene, because this was supposed to be the king's moment. And to be rude on top of it, you say that you're not going to bow. How rude is that? Governors, everybody was ready. You set up a wonderful golden image, but you decided that you're not going to bow. And this shows us that when you stand up for God, people will recognize you. The first thing I want to say, when you stand up for God, people will recognize you. To the world, you might be stupid. Everybody else is doing it. Why are you not doing it? Everybody else is drinking alcohol. Why are you not doing it? Everybody is partying. Why are you not doing it? You become the odd person. But when you stand up for God, you will be recognized. And so these boys decided that they were not going to bow. They were not going to do so. And do you imagine how the king felt? You disgraced me in front of all these people. I invited them, but yet still, it turned around in my face. And he got furious. He got so furious that in verse, he got very furious. But even before we went there, my favorite part was verse 18. Sometimes we always say that God will, and of course, he's able. But what if he doesn't? What happened when he decided that he will allow it? He doesn't. They couldn't see the future, but they were so bold. And I'm very nervous. Even just standing in front of you, I'm nervous. So just imagine those 3 Hebrew boys standing in front of thousands of people and were able to respond to the king like that. And verse 18, because verse 17, they said that they would not, because God would save them. But verse 18, but if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. Can you be bold like that in the face of death? Very bold like that. Can you imagine in your lifetime some experience that you have gone through, and in front of so many people, when you're looking at death, I don't know if it's in front of a gun or somebody is going to throw you somewhere, but you can be bold enough said, even if the Father that I serve decided that he will not save me, I'm still not going to bow. It takes great faith. It takes great faith to do something like that. It's not easy. But these boys were dedicated to serving God, comes what may. We are in 2025 now. The challenges of 2024, some of us, we have some transferred problems that have transferred from 2024 and it's still coming in 2025. But may I tell you today that the God that was in 2024 is still in 2025? Amen. You don't hear me? I said the God of 2024 is still in 2025. Amen. And I believe that as a Christian, your journey won't be easy. It won't be, has never been easy. I've said this long before, and I've said it again, that if you're a child of God and you're not facing problem, pray to heaven and ask for some. I've said it many times. I've said if you're a child of God and you're not facing problem, say, heaven, send some for me now. Because you will never have a test. You never have a testimony without a test. You can never have a crown if you have not faced the trials. So you have to go through those things and know that God is able. He reminds us that every one of us will have to take up our own burdens. We have to carry our own crosses. So this really shocks me when these boys decided that even in the midst of death, we are not going to bow. We are not. And I look at my life, I'm like, God, I'm not there yet, but please prepare me to reach that place. Please prepare me to reach that place where I can look at death and say, death, I'm sorry. You have to take me today, but I'm not giving in. For the Christian life, the road is not easy. But let me tell you again, Christians, I'd rather face my troubles now and get victory later. Because if you face victory now and enjoy all these things of this world, later on it's going to be bitter for you. So I will face my bitter moment now. I will face it now. It's not easy. I will face it now and later on look for the victory. Amen. You know, sometimes I look at life and I'm like, life sometimes can be wicked to us. You know, the other day I was like, sometimes I'm working, I'm like, what am I working for? Am I just working to pay bills? You work and sometimes I pay the bill and before you know it, I'm like, didn't I pay this bill the other day? And it comes right back again. Now, I don't know if you ever seen it before, but you pay the bills and sometimes I start to put all of my bills on auto pay. But even put it on auto pay, I have to make sure that enough is there. You pay your bills and before you know it, it comes right back at you again like, God, only you alone know. Only you alone know. We live in a world today that is not easy. But let me remind you that God is able. Let me remind you that He's an on-time God. And listen, I did not say, I'm my time God or your time God. Because, you know, if God doesn't come through for us on our time, some of us ready to give up. The bills don't pay on time. We're ready to give up. Even in sickness, that's one of the hardest things. I see it in the prayer group. There are so many people who are sick today. And it's one of the most hurting things. My elder mentioned about my elder Grant, about his father that passed away. It's never easy, especially the ones that you don't expect. It's never easy. And you can't feel what a person is feeling until you go through it yourself. For me, these days, I don't even tell people that I feel what you're going through. I say to them that I understand because I can't feel it. Your feelings are different feeling because it hits you to the core. I can only imagine what you're going through. I cannot feel your pain. And sometimes you wonder that even in the midst of death, where is God? Let me just remind you, He's still an on-time God. Amen. He's still an on-time God. He may not come through on your time, but He's still an on-time God. And the fact that you're here to witness all these, He's been there for you. He's been there for me. He's been there for you and He's been there for me. He's an on-time God. So these boys decided that they would not bow. They would not. So the king was heated. And the king said in verse 19, he said that, then was Nebuchadnezzar full of fury. He's a man that always like to get upset. Always have a rage. He has a temper problem. And he decided that he's going to go into another tantrum. And decided, yeah, hear what? He told him that, and it's the worst thing he could have ever done. I don't know why didn't he say, like, heat the fire twice. Or heat the fire 10 times. He decided to call God's name. He's going to heat it 7 times. So if Shadrach and Abednego word of we will not bow didn't cling a bell in heaven, the fact that Nebuchadnezzar said 7, everything wake up in heaven. It's like they wake up the host of heaven. You call God's name. How could God resist that? He said heat the fire 7 times. And it said that the men that they got were some big men. I don't know them, but I have watched like Gladiator before and see some big thick men in these rings and I say how big they were. And it says that they trapped these guys, and I don't know if they went down headways or footway. I don't know how they went down, but they threw them inside of it. And just the minute that they threw them inside, they were maybe hoping to hear the crying out. Some noise making or something. But they were down there having a good time. Now, this doesn't make any sense to me again. Because even when I'm cooking and just the little fire touches me, it burns so hot. And he turned that up 7 times. And they were dancing down there, walking up and down. And it wasn't even 3 of them. They were an extra person. And guess who saw the extra person? Nebuchadnezzar himself. Do you see how good God is? The fire was so hot that the men that threw them inside, what happened to them? They were consumed. So it wasn't any play fire. It wasn't a joking thing. It was a serious thing. And God was down there with these boys, walking up and down. Maybe talking to them like, boys, how you doing? You doing all right? And they were saying, yes. And they were maybe praising, thank you for coming through for us, Jesus. This is the God that we serve. He's always there for us. But I want us to keep verse 18 in the back of our minds. What if? What if he doesn't decide to step in? Because you have to be careful sometimes what you listen out there. Some people preach prosperity all the time. They talk about like God will do this. God is going to make this. And you look at your neighbor, how his life is flourishing. But yours, you're still in this whole shack, hoping to get out and you cannot get out. And you're wondering, is it that God is blessing that person more than me? Don't look at your blessing based on the next person to you. Trust God because of who he is, not because of what he can do. That's the reason why he's God. I couldn't be God because I would be selfish. I don't know about you. I could not be God. Because if I was God, I would be looking about like, what do I need tomorrow or that? I would help other people, but I was mostly thinking about me and maybe my friends. And that's why only God can be God. Only God could be God. I want to remind us that God doesn't need us. We need God. You didn't hear me, church? God doesn't need us. We need God. He was God before us. He is God with us. And he's going to be God after us. He's all God by himself. So why not just trust him? Why not just lean onto him despite anything that comes your way? I know everybody. Is there anybody in here that don't face challenges? Put up your hand. Everybody has a challenge every day. Whether it's sickness, it's something else. We all have a problem. But we have to realize that God doesn't work on your time because his mind is different from mine. His thoughts is different from mine. So when he doesn't come through for us, he's still on time. He is still on time. He is still on time. I am a living witness of that. My life has been a journey of how good God is. But he's still on time. I don't have everything that I need, but he's still on time. My God remind me that he will provide my needs. And he has. He said, my bread and my water is sure. And I promise you, when I go home, it's not only bread and water, but sometimes juice is there. I have some grape there as well. You understand? I can cook some cabbage and so on. So he gives me more than bread and water. And I'm sure he does the same for you. He provides. He provides. Just remember that we're just pilgrim passing through. It's not our final home. So while you try to stock up and build up, just remember that God wants to give you the necessities of life. Not the things that will burden you down. And on time, God. And so Nebuchadnezzar decided that when he looked in it and he said that, didn't we throw 3 men in the fire? Yes, you did. But I looked inside and I saw an extra one. And who did he say the extra one looks like? Oh my goodness. Even the people who are against God can know God. And my sister Belinda shared a story today about somebody that was inside, a younger person that you were in an aircraft with traveling and you were giving him the word and he decided not to read it. And sometimes people may reject God, but along the way, they're going to recognize that God is God. And so he was able to know that there was a God. And when they took them out, they took out these boys. Nebuchadnezzar was doing a sniffing test. Checking. They didn't have burned. Again, I don't know which way they fell in, but they didn't have broken bones. They were fine. They were good looking. Everything was fine. They were laughing. And he made a different announcement. Nebuchadnezzar said, as of today, everybody is going to serve the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. How good God is, everybody. How good is God? I have 3 pointers. I tell you, I'm not going to stay long. I'm skipping some of the things I want to say. But I have 3 pointers. One of the first one is, maybe I have 4. So, the devil will set the stage, but God will take it over. You didn't hear that one? I said the devil will set the stage, but God will take it over. Keep in mind that whose moment this was supposed to be? Nebuchadnezzar's moment. He set up a golden image that was supposed to be his moment. 3 Hebrew boys. 3 was the majority over thousands of people. They changed the entire moment. And now God took it over. That everybody, instead of praising the image, they were praising God. Amen. This is the God that we serve. He can turn your life around in the instant. Amen. The God that we serve. So sometimes you're going through your problems and you feel like there's nobody there. You are alone. You feel alone, backed up in the corner. Every day you cry in your corner. You're wondering, where is God? He's going to turn your life around one day. Amen. He's going to. He has his own time clock. He's going to. You know, I don't remember if it's a movie I watch or what I watch, but I always heard about this thing where this young guy was watching this movie and the good people just always be getting beaten left, right, and center. And he was getting frustrated. So he fast forward the movie to the end and he saw where the good person won. And he put it back where it was coming from and just relaxed. Because he already knew what was going to be the outcome. For us as Christians, God has already told us what's going to be the outcome. Why are you worried? He already told us what the outcome is going to be. He's already the winner. When you're going through your problems, it's because the devil doesn't like you. And mind you this, some of us, we have caused our own challenges. Some of us did things that we're not supposed to do. And remember that everything has a consequence. Whether you do good or bad, it comes with a consequence. So when you're going through your challenges, you pray to God, and if it's you, you pray to God and ask him to forgive you. And if it's not, then you decided, I'm not going to give up. Because the devil doesn't kick people when they're down. It's when you're up. Because if you're down, you're already down. He doesn't need to kick you down. So when you're going through your high life, things are going good for you, remember that the devil is out there. He doesn't sleep because he already lost. So if I have nothing to lose, why not just bother the people that seem to be going with good things going on for them? That's what the devil is thinking. When you're up, don't feel too complacent. And when you're down, there's no other down to go, so look up. When you're down, there's no other down to go. You're already down. Just make sure you fall on your back and look up. Or if you fall on your belly, just roll over. All right? But this is the God that we serve. He's able and he's capable to do anything that he wants to do because he's God. There's nobody else can do what God does. So please just remember, when he doesn't come on your time, just remember he's still an on-time God. He's an on-time God because he works on his time clock. Matthew 7 verse 11 says, if ye be then being evil, know how to give good gifts unto your children, how much more shall your Father which is in heaven give good things unto them who ask him? When you ask God genuinely, kneel to him, and he knows that is a need, he's going to answer. He's going to come through for you. Church, a year ago, I went away. And sometimes I wonder if it was the worst thing I did in my lifetime. Because I have never been from my family for so long. I am a family person to the core. Family is everything about me. Everything I do is family. I love them to death. Do us together, not apart. So it was just the worst feeling ever. Being away for 9 months from my family in a place only God he knows where Wi-Fi is limited. Everything about my life was different. The place I sleep was different. Just imagine moving away from the life that you're used to. You're not seeing houses. You're not seeing cars. You're just seeing the ocean. That's it. Away for 9 months. There are days that I just got frustrated because there are days that they turn off the Wi-Fi and you have no communication. Because of circumstances, Wi-Fi is gone, no internet to use, you can't even email anymore. And I was miserable. Working every day, at least 12 hours, no day off, for at least 8 months. It was in the 9th month that they started to give some 1 or 2 days off. Working 8 months, no day off, at least 12 hours. And I'm a person like this. When I finish working, I don't like to be near my workplace. When I finish working, I like to be away. I like to be away, I get away. I'm with my family. But in this case, I was off sometime, but I still felt like I was at work. Because the noise was still around. There was still noise everywhere. The feeling of it. Alert sometime going off, you have to wake up. That was the life. Going through that for 8 months. Miserable. And I was so miserable that sometimes I forgot that I was a child of God. I would go to work, don't want to speak to people. I just want to do my work and leave. That's all I wanted to do. I worried about my family as well because I wondered if they were okay. For my mom who is here, I am happy that she's here. That's another story. You know, I was trying to help my mom for the longest while to come up, and I did the paperwork. I did what was supposed to be done. But then, a couple months leading up to the time, close to 8 months, 9 months, I was just saying that, you know what, maybe when I get back, I'm going to finish what I need to get done and then find a time for her to come. And I'm telling you that when it reached the time that we were supposed to be there, let me tell you, there was nobody that was excited like me. I wanted to leave that place so much that the day before, I threw away like more than half of the clothes that I had. I packed them up in a bag and I threw them in the garbage bin. I want to see that life no more. Threw them away. I made myself a little bit lighter. And when I came off and I greet my family, I saw them. I'm telling you, it was a different feeling. It was a different feeling. Everybody was looking bright. My mother-in-law was looking good and bright. My wife was looking plummy and nice. My daughter was still looking chubby. Everything was looking wonderful. You know, and I was there. I only saw 3 persons. You know, I was hugging and everything. And I saw only 3 persons. I mind you this, only 3. And my wife touched me and said, "Who is this?" You know, and like Nebuchadnezzar, I saw 4. I only saw 3. You know, and my wife touched me and said, "Who is this?" I didn't saw my mom. And then my wife touched me and said, "Who is this?" Listen, if I had a heart problem, I would die right there. I promise you. I was so shocked. And I looked at this life and I said that God works in so many ways. I'm worried about something that God has already taken care of. Do you hear what I'm saying, church? I was worried about something that God has already planned and taken care of. That's how we are sometimes. We're worried about things that God is already in the making, taking care of for us. And that's the big picture that you don't have to see it. That's why Hebrews 11 verse 1 said, "No, faith is the substance of what? Things hoped for. The evidence of what? You don't see it, but God is still working. When you are worried, He's working. He's come through for you when your faith was just a minute. Yet He said if your faith is as a mustard seed, you can move mountain. He doesn't ask so much of us, He doesn't ask so much. All He asks is just to trust Him. And He will take care of all the problem that we're facing. He will take care of it. So God was taking care of my problem for 9 months while I was away. And I was worried. But He came through for me. Family was okay. But let me tell you, I have learned a lot of lessons. Because one thing we have to understand, I was worried about the problem, but sometimes God has to bring out some problem in our life to change the character that we have. God has to bring out some problem to build some characters that we never had before. So you see, when you're going through your problems, don't worry. God is building something stronger in you. You don't believe me? You're going to face it if you don't face it yet. I promise you. There are certain things that I went through, I didn't know I could do it. I didn't know I could do it. But God held me strong. There were people that went out that didn't came back. You hear what I'm saying? People went out that did not came back. And I don't count myself better than them. So when you're going through certain things, God is building certain character in you that you have never had before. Because if you're on the mountain, everything is going good, your bills are being paid, your car has been taken care of, your mortgage is being paid, then what are you going to worry about? But when you're going through challenges, then you recognize more that there is a God to be served. So don't worry about the problem. Don't walk around with a sad face like there is no God. I smile many times, not because things are okay, but I smile because who? If I can't change the problem, if I can't fix the problem, why worry about it? This is one of the things I have developed throughout that 9 months. That the problems that I have no control over, I'm not going to worry about it. Because I cannot change it. So if it's bigger than me, then I just give it to the boss. If I cannot handle it, then God, you have to take care of it because it's bigger than me. As human beings, we are limited. We can't see the future. We can't see what is ahead. We plan so much for next year. Many of us may have a New Year resolution, what we're going to do, but who says you might complete it? Who says it might go the way that you do it? Has everything always go the way that you want it to go? It doesn't. So rest it in the hands of the man who knows more than you. Just remember again, an on-time God. He's not slack concerning his promises. I have proven that for myself. He has not come through with everything, and I'm still awaiting for the rest. And if he decided not to, I want to be as firm as the Hebrew boys. I will still not give in. I'm still not going to give up. Church, we are living in some serious times. And if you think 2024 was difficult, sometimes we just have to smile because I tell you, I can't do anything else. If you think 2024 was difficult, 2025 won't be any easier. The closer it comes to come on to the ending of this world, the harder it's going to become. Because the devil knows that his time is very short. And sometimes if he can't get to you, he get to somebody close to you. You know that, right? If he can't get to you, he get to somebody close to you. And that is how he works. Because he wants to get you done. But don't give up. Don't give in. Even on your deathbed, still praise God. Because he conquers death before. So if even death, he will get you back to the place that you need to be. Just ask God to order your steps. At work, don't give in. At church, don't give in. On the streets, don't give in. You know, you don't see it, but sometimes I even have a temper, you know, especially when I'm driving. You know those times when you're driving and somebody's in front of you and it's almost like they in no rush to go anywhere. Sweet little time. And you're there trying to reach where you want to reach and you're like, God, please give me some patience because right now, I don't have the patience. You know what I'm talking about, right? I know those of you who drive, you know what I'm talking about. Oh, yes. You want to go somewhere, but somebody takes a little, and the minute you try to overtake them, that's the time that they want to move. You're like, what's wrong with these people? You didn't want to move before, but the minute I start to move, that's the time you want to move. And so you are being tested in so many ways in this world today. But church brothers and sisters, don't give in. Don't give in. Time is going. Let me try to finish up now. Luke 12 verse 24. Consider the ravens, for they neither sow nor reap, which neither they have storehouse nor barns, and God feedeth them. How much more are ye better than the fowls? Why we worry? Why worry when you can pray? Why worry when you can trust in God? Know that God is God. My next point, I share the first one. The second one, you will not look like what you went through. You don't hear me? When God is finished with you, you will not look like what you went through. Look at the Hebrew boys. They went in. They should have been dead, broken bones. But they came out better off. They came out smiling. So when you're going through your challenges, you see when God is finished with you, oh my goodness, you will not look like the problems that you were in. Trust in God that he will take care of that. My third pointer, you are never alone. You didn't hear me. You are never alone. Sometimes I love my peace of mind. There are times when I finish working and I would be in my room and I just sit down and you just hear this still small voice, God telling you that it's going to be okay. You're never alone. Sometimes get away from the busyness of life and just sit a little while. Even when you're finished working, before you drive off to go home, just sit a little in your car. Pray. Talk to God a little bit. And I guarantee you, you will hear that still small voice talking to you. It's going to be okay. He's going to be okay. Don't be rushy every time. Sometimes we are too busy trying to get everything done that we stop. We fail to stop to just recognize God, to just recognize that peace of mind that he carries. So just remember, you're never alone. At my final pointer, God shall have the last say. When everything is said and done, he shall have the last say. So no matter what people are saying today, no matter how the bills are high today, God shall have the last say. Church, let me tell you, things are not going to be always well. You don't see the sign on me, but I'm still under construction. I'm still under construction. God is still working on me. He's still working on me. So when you're going through, and let me tell you, sometimes I look at life and sometimes I thought that I was going through rough life until you go out there, you realize somebody is going through worse than you. Have you ever seen it before? Yes. Okay. Because I have a roof over my head. You think everybody has a roof over them head? It's not. So why am I going to worry about something when God has already taken care of so many things that I need in this life? My encouragement to you today, just remind you that God is an on-time God. No matter what you're going through, never forget that. He's going to be there for you. I don't know the challenges that you all are facing because our challenges are varied. Some people are trying to maybe accomplish a new job, maybe a new house because the car that you have is giving problem. Something that you want to accomplish in this life, but it's just not coming true. It may be a years late. It may be 9 months since you have been asking, a couple of years now. Maybe from you're an adult and you have been praying for God to give you a breakthrough. Whether it be a marital problem, whatever it is. Let me tell you, if you can't handle it, send it up to the man up above. He knows more than me and you. And if he doesn't decide to fix it now, still don't give in. Because when you live for God, at the end of your journey, you can reason with him and ask him like, God, you see the bill that killed me. Why didn't you take care of my bill? You see that my car is very old and I needed a new one. Why didn't you come through for me? And he's going to show you the bigger picture. Because he always sees the bigger picture. So as we leave here today, just remember that God is an on-time God. He's not going to give up on me and you because he reminds us that he will always be there. And I trust in his word. So search yourself and see the challenges that I go through. Did I cause it on myself? Or is it something that is just a phase that I have to go through? And when you search yourself and you realize whatever way it comes through, ask God for forgiveness. And ask God to help you because remember, we have an adversary that he's not going to give up. He will never give up until the end. But remember my last pointer. God shall have the last say. Thank you.